who's this go to?
You get some more.
Calling to order the Municipality of Monroeville Citizens Night and Agenda Setting Meeting for June 9th, 2022. It is approximately 7:05 p.m. We're going to rise for a moment, the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
Yeah, Mayor, if I can, I'd like to dedicate the moment of silence to Kenny Sizak.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Kenny Sizak, long-term municipal employee at Public Works. We lost him recently. He will certainly be missed. So please, let's dedicate that moment of silence to Kenny. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. We're going to open up our Citizens Night remarks and comments. This is for all Monroeville residents. We ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes. This is for any municipal item. I would ask council and staff to allow the resident to have their full 5 minutes, any kind of discussion. Let's save that for after the comment period, so the resident gets their full 5 minutes that we'll be timing here. So if there's anyone that has signed in already, now would be your chance to address council. Or if there's anyone that has not signed in yet that would like to, and they would like to address council, now would be your time to do it.
Oh, the pickleball guy.
Oh, yeah.
Sir, if you could just state your name for the record and that you are a Monroeville resident.
I am a Monroeville resident. My name is Larry Brandstetter. I'm a member of the very popular and ever-growing and bursting at the seams Monroeville pickleball courts. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for giving us this opportunity to speak on our, and thank you for our pickleball courts. They're truly a treasure. But we really need more courts. We're hopeful that you consider painting pickleball court lines on the tennis courts. That'll allow us to that'll give us 6 additional courts. And there's a blank basketball area that'll give us also an additional 3. Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States. Monroeville courts is attracting players from all over the Pittsburgh area. Just today, I was told that 2 folks from Fox Chapel come over to play, and they entered our group text, which has well over 100 participants on that text line. But we get people from New Ken, Apollo, Fox Chapel, Murraysville, Monroeville, of course, Penn Hills, the city, Squirrel Hill, Shady Side, all over this area. In fact, Mount Lebanon and Moon Township, because they expressed that they like the competition, they like the people. It's a very social sport, and they make a lot of friends. And also, with the advent of the rec department's popular beginner classes, we will be, after this session that we're doing right now, we will be introducing 30 new players to the sport in our courts. Last Monday, I was there, and I counted 52 people that were taking turns on our 6 courts. And then the weekend play is extremely hectic and tough to manage. So we need the extra courts to create that cohesive pickleball experience. Your approval would greatly be appreciated. I invite any of you to come up to the courts, and there's plenty of us that would be more than happy to introduce you to the game. Don't forget the sunscreen, because there ain't any shade there. Again, thank you for the courts this time, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You have a ball and a paddle there.
Yes.
Explain that to me.
Can I tell you the history real quick?
Yes.
In 1965, there were 3 businessmen, Washington State businessmen, that were vacationing off the island of Seattle. They were golfing, and they come back after golfing. They discovered their kids were all grumpy and bored and things like that. 65, I think it was before devices. So they went into the garage in their sheds and things like that, and they got a badminton net, ping pong paddles. They lined off the driveway and started batting the ball around. They discovered that the badminton net was too high, so they lowered it. And they had a blast. They were using a wiffle ball, and every time the wiffle ball would go outside of the boundaries, the dog would go and get it and run off. The dog's name was Pickles. So that's where the name come from. 2 years later, they patented it, and they made paddles out of plywood. These are they're the same configuration as what's now, but these are a whole lot more sophisticated. Graphite composite, and probably go for $170, $180 a piece. The wiffle ball is pretty sophisticated. There's outdoor, indoor type of thing. There's an area in the pickleball court called the non-volley zone, or the kitchen. Where they created that was, they had a neighbor that was 6'7". He would belly up to the net, and every time the ball come to him, he'd just blast it. Now consider the driveway is only this wide, and today we only have 10 feet to work. You know, we play doubles and we have 10 feet space, which is good for us seniors. But he would blast the ball down, so they said, we can't have this. So they created the non-volley zone, or the kitchen, which they moved 7 feet away from the net. You can't go in there unless the ball bounces. But there's a lot of strategy involved. But it's a great sport, and I invite you up.
Appreciate the explanation, thank you.
Maybe council should have a tournament.
Well, yeah, but we get our own special ones, probably cow pie hitting with it.
Excellent.
But something like, quick question from that too. So I'm not sure I understand the ask, okay? So, because again, tennis courts and tennis players and stuff too, but I don't believe, I got some note from Director of Recreation stuff too, like he's looked at the numbers and the usage in terms of tennis and stuff. It's not as big of an impact, but really talking about an overflow capability to the tennis courts to ask them to be lined off. That's all this is asking for.
Yeah, and Mr. Poach, if I could.
Yeah.
Because this was something that actually, the Parks and Rec Department and the advisory board are already ahead of this,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So they're looking to actually do what you are suggesting, is doing an overlay of lines, not taking away the tennis courts, but relining it or putting additional lines on it. So currently, the tennis courts are white lined, maybe doing them in orange for pickleball.
Or light blue or yellow,
Yeah.
or some sort of
But with the-
contrasting color.
With the understanding from the pickleball folks that those are tennis courts, that if people are coming to play tennis, that maybe they finish up their games and they allow a spot for people to play tennis.
Certainly, we would give the right of way to the tennis player.
Yeah, but this is, Parks and, just so council knows, Parks and Recreation has already discussed this at their meeting.
Yes.
They were all on board with that.
I think it's a great
The
idea.
board has approved
The
it.
board has already approved it, and really, it's just.
And I
council
I just want to
if we
voice whatever the ask was to
Well,
be
thank
sure
you,
that we
yeah.
did that too.
And
It's not uncommon for us to, I play tennis in the North Hills, and it's not uncommon for those tennis courts to be marked off with pickleball.
So it's
lines.
multi-use.
But they're different colored, they can't be the same color. Right. Now, there's a facility up above Cheswick, it's called PISA, Pittsburgh Indoor Sports Arena. There's 4 different sets of lines, volleyball, basketball, and it's really confusing, but you have to really know what the pickleball lines are. So it's not uncommon to overlap tennis courts with pickleball lines.
Right. Council, I mean, any
Sounds
issues
like
with this?
No,
No,
I spoke with
that sounds good.
Paul Estock earlier this evening. He affirmed what you said, Mayor, that the board has already approved it to be done, and Paul was on board with that also.
Mr. Hugus, if you could coordinate with Mr. Estock and Public Works as far as how we get those, lines painted. I'm not sure if that's something that's done
Well,
by
it's gonna
Public
be a
Works.
long list.
It is a long list.
Right. But we're going to get it done. Thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you very
All
much.
right,
and,
thank you.
I'll be back with a whole litany of other things.
Great. And I'll leave the floor open
Get a
for any
dog
other
picture, get a
resident
dog.
who would like to address council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. How you guys doing?
Good.
I'm Kim Krivda. I live on 156 Jamison Lane, and I'm here just to touch base about the situation with the water and the overflow of the pond at DCI. Now, since the last meeting, I believe it was Cody came out during, waiting for a heavy rain, and he actually got to speak with the adjacent property owners the two or three other people involved. And we're waiting for, they were going to have, speak with the plumbers, right? And Paul Wilden had a meeting with them, and then it seems like they put the restrictor back on to like slow the water down coming from the pond. Like they had taken it off when they did that cleaning, and it was like, just like rushing through. So we haven't had a significant rain since they took that off, which has to be, or put it back on within the last couple of days. So if that happens, and if it helps a little bit, and I'm hoping it does, but what I'd like to know, is the municipality going to put this pond on their list, since it's on private property? I know they only inspect ones on municipality properties, am I right?
No,
No? Do they do all of them?
we inspect all detention
Do
basins.
they? Okay. So are they going to reach out on a regular basis, and I think it's like once or twice a year, to DCI and have them service it? Because that was the problem. They never serviced it over the last 22 years. So that became a big issue. So are they going to, is that going to be part of the process?
When the letter was sent to DCI, part of it was their approved plan that has a maintenance requirement cycle that they have to follow.
So they're going to, like, adhere to a regular schedule? And I'm still, the jury's out on that until I see another heavy rain. And if it washed out the adjacent neighbors, like their tie wall, and they had seen it. Paul and Cody have seen the damage. Now, the owner of the one property wants to take the fence down, he wants to put a ditch in there, but I'm not sure what his plan of action should be, so I don't know if that's, it's on his property, the wall belongs to both property owners. If he puts a ditch in there, whether that'll, give the water a place to run versus washing out all the dirt. But anyway, if there's additional things that need to be done, are we going to be able to enforce that with the property owner, the DCI? Like, will the municipality stand behind us as residents for that?
Yeah, they would have to follow the agreement, yeah, they would have.
Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address council on any municipal item?
My name is Daniel Beggs, and I am at 158 Jameson Lane. What Kim, who was just speaking about, that's between my property and my neighbor's property, where it got washed out enough, where his fence is being underroded and my tie fence wall was to keep things, it's undercut and it fell over. If a drain gets put in there, the only thing is, when it does rain, that drain will come down and it's gonna flow actually right into Jameson Lane. And that would, I think, by my understanding, you're not allowed to do that, so I would like to see if somebody could come up with an option other than a drain that would come down between the two properties and not flow right into Jameson Lane, or if it's fine, once it flows into Jameson Lane, right in front of my driveway is the storm sewer, so it would actually flow down and flow into the storm sewer as fast as it could take that, which the drain up above actually flows down into the storm sewer at my driveway as well.
Are you talking about adding another drain from beside DCI's, or?
Okay, so there's the drain that goes from the retention pond
Yes,
down from DCI, right? Then there's
inlet.
the inlet, right. At that point, that's the one that was overflowing. If it doesn't overflow ever again, then we're perfectly fine. But if it does start to overflow, then the problem would be, now it comes down in between the two properties, and because my property's here and my neighbor's property is here, it's eating away. Sorry about that. So, yes, that's what we want to know is, what could be a plan of action. I mean, if the municipality knows and has the engineers and can actually do something about it, that's fantastic. I'll leave it up to the municipality.
So your neighbor was looking to do a pipe
Yeah,
where you were?
right.
or
It's
you-
right, it would be right on, right between our properties, or right on our property line.
Well, could
But
we
we
get
don't know if
somebody
there's
to
a,
maybe meet with the owners to kind of just see what they're proposing? Whether that's,
We've seen that, Mayor.
what do you think about
Been out
adding
there with Paul
another,
Hugus and
adding another
around.
inlet of some sort?
I mean, we've been there. I mean, our
Would that help?
obligation is to make sure DCI complies with their stormwater management report.
Correct. If they,
That's what we're doing.
if they do what the gentleman described, is there any issue? The storm inlets on Jameson Lane would probably be able to handle
Yes,
that water?
yes.
If they, okay.
okay.
I think the bottom line is DCI's pipe is inferior. It's only a 6-inch pipe.
Right, and if that
Pick
was,
up.
if that whole thing was increased to a larger size pipe,
They're not going
yeah, I understand exactly
Yeah,
what
they're-
you're
they're not
saying.
gonna do that.
But if that was increased, then yes, there would never be a problem. But I'll just wait and find out.
So you're saying that we could not force DCI to
Well, I mean,
increase the
you're hearing
size?
two different things. You're Mrs. Cribb to come up here and say that DCI had to make some repairs or detention basin, which restricts the water to stay in their pond and not go down the pipe. If that in fact is true, then you get less water in the pipe, then you don't have a problem.
I guess it's something we'll have
Right.
to see.
We're gonna have
Yeah,
to wait.
over
Because I think a
time.
lot of that is surface.
Okay.
I'll have
Right.
to watch it.
Oh, no, there's no surface water
Just
going
watch
into
it.
that detention, or into
And
that
then
catch basin. It's
What happens in
it's
the
above the
meantime,
ground
because
surface.
it's,
What's going in there is through the
do I
pipe.
put the retention wall back up or what? So.
That's
Yeah,
a tougher one to answer.
yeah, I know, exactly. And that's what what would be the next steps?
We are going to continue to monitor it.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry for taking the,
No.
More than 5
no,
minutes.
No, you're fine. I'll leave the floor open. Public comment on any municipal item. Seeing none, we're going to close our comment period and move over to our agenda-setting meeting. All of council is in attendance. And we have a public hearing item that we're going to start with. This is a liquor license transfer. Full Throttle Adrenaline Park Pittsburgh LLC is the applicant here.
Good evening, council. My name is Charles Caputo. I'm an attorney here on behalf of the applicant, Full Throttle Adrenaline Park Pittsburgh LLC. I have with me tonight Aaron Banfield. He is a representative of the company, and he can answer any questions that you stump me with tonight. So we're here, as the mayor introduced this, for an intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license. The property subject to this request is 360 Mall Circle Drive. It is the former site of Steel City Indoor Karting.
And Mr. Caputo, if you, before you move on, this being a public hearing item, I'm just going to swear anybody that maybe be adding testimony. Is there anyone from the audience that would possibly be adding testimony? You can just stay right where you are, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Very good. And we are calling to order this public hearing item. So, thank you, Mr. Caputo, please.
Thank you. So the site was formerly an indoor go-kart facility. Full Throttle Adrenaline Parks they operate currently 5 similar establishments in Ohio, Michigan, and Kentucky. This will be their first venture into Pennsylvania. And as part of this overall entertainment facility, they want to have a liquor license at the facility. We'll get into a little bit about what they offer and that sort of thing. The license that we identified is in West Mifflin. We couldn't find any that were available in Monroeville. Licenses are getting more and more scarce in all the communities right now. And so that's why we're here tonight. Under the liquor code, if we're going to cross municipal borders, we have to come before the council and seek a resolution approving that intermunicipal transfer. And this part has to be done before we could proceed with the Liquor Control Board. Full Throttle Adrenaline Park Pittsburgh LLC. The business is going to be similar to what they operate in other states. I would best describe this as an action entertainment facility. I don't know that we have anything exactly like it here currently. I'm going to hand you, that we can use as an exhibit, sort of a layout of the facility. They're going to keep, I don't know where, do you want me to start here? I hope I brought it up.
And one for Sharon first. Sharon needs.
I apologize if I didn't bring enough for,
Is there enough for council?
I think so.
Could lay one down on the
To share, yeah.
camera, yeah.
Answer your question while they're
sure.
dropping them off.
So, some of the what they offer is the go-karting, there's also paintball, mini bikes, axe throwing, virtual reality. It's sort of a hodgepodge of different sort of high-action adventure type games. And as you can see on the layout, these all sort of go around the existing
If you
go-kart.
just leave it on that X.
track.
If you just move it right.
Yeah,
in
we'll-
there. Leave that in there, and then, yeah, we can zoom in on it from on top, and then you can just reference it.
Perfect.
It'll be slightly inverse from the way you point that.
Now, this is a sort of preliminary floor plan. They have to go through all the permitting and things like that. And they could add some items, delete some items, but essentially they offer a wide array of different action, entertainment, games, all within a single facility. They have, you can attend this as a, just with your family, with adults, with kids. They have private parties, they have corporate events, they have meetings. You'll see there are some conference rooms over here. And so they really tailor this to trying to attract a wide array of people and businesses. It's, like I said, not limited to adults. They also have plenty of stuff for kids. They offer summer camps, daily and weekly through the summer, ages 7 to 15, I believe it is. And you can, like other camps, the kids do art camps, basketball camps. You can bring your kids to Full Throttle, and they can have fun all day while, you're trying to get work done.
Quick question. In your layout here, I don't see anywhere where there's a bar of any kind. Why do you need a liquor license?
Yeah, largely for, it's really a complement to the business. It's not bar forward. Okay, I'll give you a copy of the menu. It's a lot of pizzas, sandwiches, things like that. And, because of the corporate events and things like that, and if adults want to have a drink. But it's not an alcohol.
It's not a bar type place.
First type establishment,
I got
right.
It's like a party place.
Are those seats around the racetrack?
Yes, yes. And what they do is, if you want to participate in the events, you go through, if you're a new participant, basic, education and training on the event, something like an axe throwing or a go-karting. They sort of teach you how to do it. They also have instructors there that, depending on whether it's a peak time, non-peak time, and the type of event, that can assist if people need assistance. But they will explain the basic how to do and also the rules that you have to follow to participate in the facilities. Hours of operation are 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. roughly, is what they have at their other facilities, and think they would keep the same hours here. Sundays, they close earlier, 8 p.m. There's no outdoor area. Everything is contained within that existing building. And, the really great thing is, I think currently, the go-kart facility employed somewhere between 15 and 20 people. This facility will employ probably 3 times that, somewhere between 50 and 60 people. In terms of timeline, we're looking to open the facility September 1st, which is an aggressive timeline. We have this process, and then after this, we have to file with the Liquor Control Board. It's about an 8 to 12-week process. So I think the current plan is they want to proceed with opening it with or without the license, and we're going to do our best to try to make sure they can have a license in time for the opening.
Council, any questions?
Happy to answer any questions.
I like hearing it's gonna hire 50, 60 people.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
I'm on your side.
No, I think it's a great amenity. I think it's, these type of entertainment options are definitely great for the municipality, great for the mall property. Yeah, I know the ownership group, they introduced themselves to a few members up here. We're looking forward to having them in the community, so if there's nothing else from council, this is something that we will consider at the Tuesday meeting for approval.
Bob
I
has
do
one.
have a
Sorry, Mr.
question.
Williams.
On these liquor licenses, these liquor licenses in Allegheny County, are they countywide, or?
No.
You say you're having trouble signing one that's from West Mifflin?
Yeah.
Is there just so many in Allegheny County, or is it
Yes.
statewide?
Yeah, they're county specific. There's a
County
county
specific.
quota, and then each municipality also has its own quota.
Uh-huh.
And once your quota is exceeded, which most are exceeded, it's 1 per 3,000 inhabitants, that's when you have to go through this intermunicipal process.
If we pass this in Monroeville and you bring another liquor license in, does that change our quota then?
No, you're already over
We've already
quota.
passed our quota.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we
All right.
passed.
yeah, just about every
We're well
municipality
past.
is.
Most people are.
Good information, thank you.
But we have a unique, community, and we have certainly we have a robust retail area and shopping and dining, so we're kind of an outlier. So,
Yeah, most of everybody's passed.
anything else, council?
No.
Okay, Mr.
Thank you very
anything
much
else?
for your
You're good?
time. Nope.
Very good. So I would
Appreciate
like
it.
to seek
Thank
a
you.
motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This public hearing is closed, and we're going to move over to the rest of our agenda-setting meeting. And like I said, council will consider that liquor license transfer at the Tuesday, June 14th council meeting at 7 PM. I have an executive session announcement. The council conducted an executive session before the council meeting, before tonight's agenda-setting meeting on Thursday, June 9th, from 6:15 to 7 PM approximately. For personnel and litigation reasons, council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at the Tuesday, June 14th council meeting. Council, moving over to the minutes that you have are the Citizens Night meeting of May 5th, 2022, the council agenda-setting meeting of May 5th, 2022, and the regular council meeting of May 10th, 2022. Any questions
Motion to approve.
or comments? We're not going to vote on tonight,
don't
but
do
any
that.
questions about them? You're ready to go.
You're ready to go for Tuesday.
I'm ready, man.
All right.
Sitting on a spring.
Very good. Any questions or comments? I don't see any, so we're going to move over to our reports of our tax collections. Does anybody have any questions or comments about those? None. Very good. List of bills and budget transfers. Council, any questions this evening? Seeing none, payroll report. Council, any questions or comments? Seeing none. We will consider our vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities on Tuesday, and we're going to move down to our bids and proposals. And Mr. Little, you have 4 this evening.
Okay, Mr. Hugus put a memo and a spreadsheet at your stations right before the meeting, and we had a bid opening on Tuesday for the paving and the fog seal and the crack seal program. And as you can look at the spreadsheet, first of all, we increased the budget to $2 million for our paving program this year. And as you can see, the bottom line, approximately 2.3 and some change million. So we're over the budgeted amount.
Can we amend what we agreed to?
We can, and that's one of the things that Paul and I want to discuss with you right now. You can see the crack sealing program is just about in line with the estimated amount, and the same with material for patching and seal coat roads. Now, the fog sealing program, I didn't realize we estimated, and that's much higher, obviously. And the paver rental in-house paving program is the same, and the in-house paving material. Now, the paving program itself, you can see we estimated about close to 1.3, and we got about 1.7. And the seal coating program was less. So we're at about 2,341,059.18, which is exactly, we're not about, we're there. And looking at the low bidders, The low bidders for the paving, we have A. Liberoni of Plum, PA at $1,691,261. The other two bidders were Felino Construction and Tresco Paving were higher.
105,000.
Second page is the bid results for the Silk Code program. And Russell Standard had two different alternatives, one with aggregate in the Silk Code and one where we supplied it. And the lower one is alternate number 2, which is where we supply it, and that's $283,773.36. And the last one that Paul put together for you in a fog seal, Russell Standard was the low bid at $214,704.27, with Holbein being a higher bid. So now that we are over the amount, I asked Paul to think about and discuss with you if you want to lower that, and then Paul and Jamie would have to decide on which roads to take out of the program. I think we were going to lower that.
Oh,
number
no,
to
no,
$2 million.
no,
I
no,
believe-
no, no, no.
I mean,
I believe the council was unanimous last time when we approved this for the 2 million, that we wanted all the roads done. And I believe we're still on the same page, that we need to increase it, the extra 341.59.18.
I support that, but my next question would be for Mr. Little and Ms. Rock. Do we have the money to do so? 'Cause I
Well,
agree,
I mean,
agree.
it's like when Paul and I were talking after the bids, and, yeah, we have the money, and I'll almost verbatim give you the same answer when Paul and I talk, yeah, we have the money. The however there is you keep saying you have the money, and then before, no, I'm not saying you don't have the money. And we're spending the money on things that need to be spent in Monroeville. It's not that, it's just, if your question is to yourself, do you want to stay with your budgeted amount, or do you think going over is well-spent money?
So,
Well, no, wait, we should have waited to do this until the bids were in, and then we wouldn't have this conversation. But
Do
we
your
did.
budget?
Well, no, not for the budget standpoint, but I mean, we can't, it's a matter of what we thought.
I mean,
in
one
the
of,
process now.
one of the options you could do is, we rent a paver and we pave the walking paths in the parks. That's $61,000 right there. I mean, you could eliminate that, but again, they need done.
Okay, so this is over what we thought, to be quite honest, let's back up the last 3 or 4 years. You guys have hit the number almost square
Yes.
on the nose
So
for the
if
last
you-
4
If
years.
you look at, I highlighted the paving because that's where the
Sure.
meat of the problem is. The mill and pave prices are 40% higher than they were last year.
Right, and that's where I was going.
And
with Paul.
we raised our estimate because we knew this was gonna happen, but we didn't think this was gonna happen.
Right, and that-
So, but you're looking at a 40% increase from last year's cost.
Yeah, you're not running off the reservation in any way, shape, or form in terms of the scope of these projects that you already laid out to us before. These are the exact projects that you talked about. It's
Yes.
just, like everybody else who's going to go pay $5 a gallon for gasoline.
Yes.
The cost has run up, and that's the biggest point.
And to be quite honest with you, everything that we're doing here uses diesel fuel.
Sure, and that's
And
gonna be more.
that's worse than gasoline.
Right.
And that changes dramatically, to make it, to transport it, to install it, everything's diesel fed. So, that's, even the people that are bid are concerned, and you're actually gonna find that this is gonna be a quick hitter. We execute these contracts, they're here in June, early July, because they want to get it done.
Sure.
And we're pretty close to being ready for them, so by the time we get them under contract.
But I think it's
it'll be-
important to
it'll be
include,
occurring.
yeah, important to include, this is not expanding the scope of any of the work. The additional costs that are on here too. And I think that's the biggest thing we rattled back and forth about as a group is we needed to get these things done. And we've been trying for the last 4 years to stay to, in that level where we had been
Right.
down here too. So,
I mean, typically, our cost estimating is spot on. This year,
yeah,
it's
you're
just.
right. Last,
crap
almost
shoot.
4 years into the newer council members too. We've been close. We've moved it up a little bit to try to keep it a 30-some-odd% of what was estimated of what really,
Right.
everything else to be needed to keep at a consistent number for for the rotation. So, I mean, Bob, I'm with you on that too. Let's get it done. I
And a
mean,
couple years ago, we actually came in under. The
Under.
prices were lower than what we expected, so.
That's correct.
Right.
Right.
But
Hopefully that
we
happens
got to
again.
get this done.
So I'm hearing a couple people that agree, I agree with that. I mean, I want, rest of council, any objections? Do you agree? Any comments on this?
Who paved our roads last year?
Tresco.
Tresco.
And we've had Liberoni do work for us before.
We actually haven't had Liberoni do it for us, but we've talked to other communities who have used Liberoni. Typically, we use Tresco or Dairy because they own their own asphalt plants. They could set their own cost. You could see one bid and one didn't, and that's because they're afraid of what the industry is coming to right now.
Understood.
Yeah, these dominoes didn't start falling.
Correct.
You know, sometime,
Yes.
Tim, where are we at with the stimulus money? Is there anything left, or
Well,
we getting another
good
payment?
question, Mike. I mean, we got the first tranche a year ago, and which was about 1.4 million and some change, and 800,000 of that went to the fire truck. And we have the balance of that in a separate account in Pliget. And I have actually, it's funny you mention that, actually, when I went to the APMM conference in Hershey, we were talking about that, and I email, and we have like an email exchange once a week, or a Zoom meeting. And has anybody heard anything about the ARPA money? No, because we got the money last year, Josie,
Right.
in late May,
Yeah,
if I'm not
somewhere.
mistaken. And nobody has heard, nobody has even heard anything, it's delayed or anything. Usually you get emails, a plethora of emails. We haven't heard anything, nothing.
Who's the contact person?
Well, it's the Treasury Department.
I mean, with our state rep, I mean, our federal.
Well, no, it comes from, it comes from the feds, but they do give it to the state, and then the state is, and it's, I believe we got it through the DCED, if I'm not mistaken.
But maybe we could reach out to Councilman, or Congressman Doyle's office perhaps and see.
Yeah,
See the
I can
status.
do that, yeah. But nobody has heard anything out of my colleagues.
That's on that second check, right?
On the second check, correct, yeah.
I could see
Okay. So council, on this matter with the paving project,
the difference.
everybody's okay with moving forward and
Increasing it, that
increasing
amount.
whatever we need to do to get it done?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Next item, Mr. Little.
Okay, next item is new business, is Hassam and Thomas.
I'm sorry, surplus equipment, did you have to talk about that or no?
Oh, I'm sorry, surplus equipment, I didn't see that. We don't have, oh,
1 minute, Hasim, please. Yeah,
oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
We forgot
Okay.
somebody.
The surplus equipment, Joe, I don't think we have that in yet, or do we?
No, the auction ends Monday.
Yeah.
We should probably get between, there's a couple tractors, trailers, assorted equipment from Public Works. We should get between $12,000, $15,000, $17,000, something like that.
I was hoping you were gonna say 341,000.
I'm waiting. 59, 18.
That's a good hope.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Any questions about that, council? Seeing now, we'll move over to our new business now. 22-2-C, Hasim and Thomas. Mr. Little.
Okay, applicant is requesting a conditional use approval to establish a vehicle services business in an existing 1,200 square foot building. The property is located at 2530 Monroeville Boulevard, known as tax parcel ID 639L059 in the C2 Business Commercial District. And the planning commission is recommending approval, and since this is a conditional use hearing, it is a public hearing.
So you are the applicant, Hasim, right? So you're the only one here, but I will swear you in since this is a public hearing. I'm going to open up the public hearing right now. Raise your right hand. Thank you. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Great, thank you. So if you want to describe your project.
Yeah, so we're, me and Mr. Thomas, sorry he's not here, he was sick today. So we're looking to open up a new and used tire shop in Monroeville, and also doing like brakes, rotors, tune-ups, oil changes, just quick things in and out. That's pretty much it, as far as what we're looking to do with the business. The repairs that we're looking to, are going to make is, we're gonna put a new roof on, we're gonna paint the building. I'm not sure if you guys seen the building, it's pretty ugly now. But, yeah, that's it.
Oh, all right.
That's what you would know as Waldman Motors.
Waldman
Waldman.
Well, it's about time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my guy is gonna pave, we're gonna get the parking lot paved. We're gonna paint the building, put a new roof on.
Oh, yeah.
And on the side of the building, on the right side where the car is, we were talking about putting like the shipment containers there for tires, but instead we're gonna do a gate, and I think we're only allowed, what, a 8-foot gate, I believe?
We'll figure that out for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put a gate there on that side, and, you know, that's where we're gonna enclose our tires at, have our inventory there. And then we want to put a sign somewhere in the front. There's like, if you look at the other angle, where their bushes are, we were trying to see how we can be able to put a sign there. Yeah, right over there on the right side in the corner. If we could maybe put some there a little bit back this way, then one on the building as well.
Do you and/or Mr. Thomas own the building? Did you purchase the
No,
building?
actually, a buddy of mine's that I also have a real estate company, and he actually purchased the building.
Okay.
And, so he owns it, we're just gonna rent it from him.
It's already been closed, like he already owns it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We tried to buy it, but he didn't wanna sell it.
So, council, this is a conditional use, is what we're talking about, because all the other things, some of the things you brought up about the gate, fences, signage, that's something we'll work with you.
Okay.
Our staff will, as you go through the process here.
Okay.
What council's gonna consider, what we're gonna talk about right now, and then what we're gonna consider on Tuesday, is just the conditional use aspect. It was basically just saying does council approve this use in that area?
Okay.
Once you start talking about the site plan and, okay, how you're gonna lay things out, yeah, the staff will help you
Okay.
work through all that. So, council, does anybody have any questions about the conditional use aspect of it at this point? Mr. Williams?
Well, my concern would be when Waldman Motors owned it, they got a couple variances. Are them variances null and void now with a new owner?
No, they remain, they stay
They
with the
remain?
land, yeah.
Because he had a variance for a number of cars.
Right,
and
right.
there was a couple, I forget what the other one was.
My recollection, that was related to car sales and how many
Yeah.
cars he could have on the lot.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
okay.
they're obviously not,
Yeah, we're trying to be
yeah,
in and out.
they're service guys. so.
Okay, the other
was
question
part-time
is,
service and
in
selling
front of
cars
his
on the side.
property, the sidewalk got a grass strip between the sidewalk and the highway.
Yes.
And if that isn't gonna be maintained, I'd recommend that they take that out and
Yeah,
concrete
we'll
it.
have that maintained.
Sidewalk ordinance.
And that would be something that we would come up in the site plan. And we wouldn't be considering that tonight or on Tuesday. It's something we talk about
Later
down
down
the
the
road.
line.
However, to Mr. Williams's point about the variances, is there a way that we can, Mr. Ratcher,
I'm listening.
perhaps provide the applicant with maybe some of these historical things? So, I mean, how does that typically work?
Yeah, well, you're gonna wanna see Mr. Wilton down there on the end.
Okay.
And he's gonna be the person who you're gonna work with respect to the site plan, and he can also provide you with the history of the property as to what's happened there, what variances were granted, what your responsibilities will be moving forward.
He's your answer man.
Yeah, we were talking last time, he said he'll have some things together for me.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you plan on storing the unusable tires outside or inside?
We're gonna put them outside, inside the gate, but we're gonna have like I was speaking to them before, we're gonna have a shipment, taking the tires out. We're gonna have a truck for those.
The used tires, the shipping container you're talking about behind a gate, that's where you're gonna put the tires.
Yeah, we're gonna put the tires back there, so it won't be in the public eye.
But there's not a container, they're just gonna be outside, is that?
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be
No,
containers
we're, yeah,
anymore.
we're canceling the containers now
fenced
because
in.
we weren't sure if we were allowed to have the containers there. So we were just thinking of different type of ideas, what we can do. So we were, considering just having a nice gate up and, but closed off, you wouldn't be able to see the tires or anything on that side.
It's gonna be fenced in somehow that
Yes, sir.
the public can't see the tires?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you say,
All curb appeal.
when you say gate, do you mean like a privacy fence?
Yes.
So you won't be able to see from any sides?
Right.
Yeah.
And once again, that is a site plan. Will this will come in front of us for site plan, or is this more just out of your office
This
administrative?
is it. Everything else will be administrative.
Okay. Those kind of things that
Yeah.
I know you'll do right by Monroeville, Mr. Wielden, as you always do. So,
Question for Paul. Do we have an ordinance allowed to have so many used tires stored in an area?
And nothing that's specific for tires.
Okay. Thank you.
council, any other questions for the applicant?
I do want to just say one thing,
Please,
if you don't
yeah,
mind.
absolutely.
I'll reassure you that everything's gonna look nice.
Okay.
I don't do tacky, and I know it's all about appearance. So everything's gonna be like up to code and the standards.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the commitment.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
So if there's no other questions by council and nothing else to add by the applicant,
No,
you're
sir.
good? So we'll close the public hearing, and then we'll consider this, we'll vote on this on Tuesday, the Tuesday meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank
Hey,
you.
have a good
Good luck.
one.
Thank you. All right, council, we're going to move over to our motions. We have two this evening. Mr. Little.
Yeah, the first one is a motion to approve the property disposition from the Tricog Land Bank for property located at 407 Fieldstone Drive.
409.
409.
Oh, sorry, 409. What did I
Don't
say?
take, don't take the neighbor's house.
Okay, 409. Turn the page too quickly. We had one of these couple months ago, and it's good to see that they're moving the property. Any questions on that, council?
No, sir.
Nope, next item.
Okay, motion to accept Gordon Kahn's resignation from the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board.
Denied.
Right.
Gordon's
Yeah,
done a
Gordon's
great
good
job.
guy,
He's
yeah,
a good guy
good
and
job.
to do that.
Sorry to see
so,
him go.
yeah.
Next item, moving over to.
I do have a question on that one. That one, in his resignation letter, he says that he also resigned from the Westmoreland Heritage Board.
Yeah, he's our rep to that board.
So how does that process work? Does council nominate that, or?
No, that's through the Westmoreland Heritage Trail Board. I think he just put that in there just to, it has nothing to do with Monroeville, other than Monroeville does have a rep on there.
Okay.
And we are looking for somebody that's anyone's interested to fill that position, but that is handled through the Westmoreland Heritage Trail folks.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
think we can give them a recommendation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean, should we, let's talk about that some more too, so we can get it onto our site as well.
Yeah, it's probably more of like an advertisement we can get on the
Advertisement, yeah,
website
do
and kind of let
that,
people
yeah.
know. But it's not a council-matic thing.
Right.
I guess maybe
That's
we're
what I was
conduit to
Yeah,
let
to
them
do that and
know.
then make a recommendation to them from us, yeah. I mean, Gordon's been very valuable in that, you know him from recreation and stuff too, but on the Heritage Trail, I mean, he's got that like close to his heart. you
Yeah,
know, the whole
absolutely.
thing. I'm sorry to hear that, to do that.
Okay, any other questions about this item?
That's all.
Very good. Resolutions, Mr. Little.
Okay, the first resolution has to do with the public hearing we had on the restaurant liquor license, a resolution approving the transfer of liquor license number R 18435 into the Municipality of Monroeville for Full Throttle Adrenaline Park Pittsburgh LLC, located at 360 Mall Circle Drive. Any further questions on that, council?
Nope.
Okay.
All right, moving over to our ordinances. We have four that we're going to consider on Tuesday. So, Mr. Rasher, please.
First ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 290, Property Maintenance of the Code of the Municipality of Monroeville, and repealing ordinance numbers 2023-2298, 2391, 2479, and 2685 by adopting the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code and additional regulations as listed herein, regulating and governing the condition and maintenance of all property, buildings, and structures. And I think Mr. Hugus and myself and Mr. Weldon are working on this, and the recommendation to council is going to be to table this matter until we've made some additional adjustments to the proposed ordinance.
Very good. We can do that on Tuesday.
All right. Next three, I believe, are related to the, Tim, these are related to the police cadet issue, correct?
Next two.
Okay. Second one is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending the Administrative Benefits Ordinance Number 2630 to include police cadets, Act 120 Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission, which has an acronym called MOPATEC. The third ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, amending the Administrative Salary Ordinance Number 2753 to include police cadets.
Very good. And Mr. Little, if you could just give very briefly, let the public know about what we're doing with police hires.
The Civil Service Commission and Council, through their blessing, in past years, well, I shouldn't say in past years, for the past 35 years, you had to have what is called Act 120 certification from the Police Academy. Well, because Monroeville and a lot of other communities have had maybe a little bit of difficulty attracting police recruits, you can drop the Act 120 certification initially, and then they have to take the civil service test. They have to go through the psychological and the oral interviews and the psychological test. And then we can send them if they don't have Act 120, we can send them. And so if the question becomes, okay, if we send them, they are not full sworn police officers, they are not part of the collective bargaining agreement, so we have to make a separate category in these two ordinances with respect to benefits and with respect to wage, on what their benefits are going to be and what their wages are going to be while they are going to school for, it's about 5-6 months. And then they come out of the academy, they have their Act 120 certifications, and then they become, and then they're sworn in as full police officers. So that's what these two ordinances are about.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, council? Very good. Mr. Ratcher, last item.
Okay, the last ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, electing to amend its non-uniform pension plan administered by the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System pursuant to Article 4 of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law, agreeing to be bound by all provisions of the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement Law as amended and as applicable to member municipalities. This is a housekeeping item with regard to credited service for pensions, as I recall.
Correct, it has to do with, family medical leave, basically, is what it is. It's a housekeeping item for family medical, if you go on family medical leave, and so you'll still have credited service for the pension.
Very good. Questions or comments?
None.
All right. So we're going to move over to our reports of our municipal staff. Mr. Ratcher, you have the floor.
Nothing tonight. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Little.
Yeah, first one is the capital improvement program. I have 2 priority lists from council members. I'm looking for the other 6, really, counting the mayor, looking for the other 6. And I was just wondering if council had any discussion points, wanted to bring up anything significant in the capital improvement, from the 2 capital improvement program hearings that we had. And what I would suggest, and it's up to council, obviously, is maybe we have a separate meeting or hearing for just discussion purposes, and if you want to maybe call any department head back to answer any questions, any particular department head, we can do that. That's a suggestion. Keep the process moving. Mr. Williams,
Do you have a form, or is it just on the internet,
it's what I put on your council website.
on the website?
Yeah, it's, Josie put in that extra column, and we want to get, Josie and I, and the department heads, obviously, want to get a sense on where your priorities are, on what's important, and I'm not saying what's not important, it's a matter of what is more important than the other thing. Obviously, tonight, talking about paving roads, we have to pave roads, we're not going to get away with that. Needs and wants, right, Paul?
That's correct.
Needs and wants.
Well, council has their assignment, and so do I. Let's all get the information over to Mr. Little so he can talk with the department heads. And I think we can carve out time at all of our, whether it's the agenda-setting meetings or the council meetings, where we could set aside some time. And if we want to add some more time, we could have a separate meeting for this item before council actually approves the program.
Okay.
So that makes sense. So, next item.
Yeah, household hazardous waste and electronic collection event is July 16th at the Public Works Building, as usual, and that concludes my report.
Yes, and just a clarification, there it is on the TV screen right now. You do have to pay for these items, but it's definitely a good way to get rid of things out of your garage, so. Any questions, contact the municipality. Mr. Hugus,
Yes, sir.
you're up.
Apparently.
Yeah, grass cutting.
So several of you have called me over the past few weeks concerning high grass, and it's a very large problem in the community this year. I'm trying to identify why it's a problem, but what we basically come back to, it's a lot of the people that are flipping houses, people that are renting houses that, kind of put their property maintenance on ignore. But one of our tools, the tool we use, is when we see a violation under the property maintenance code we just talked about, your grass, the maximum height is 8 inches. The code enforcement officers, they're not writing a letter unless it's probably a foot. Now, people see it as a foot, they write a letter. The process is you send a certified letter to the owner of record. They get 7 business days to respond, and that's either by, basically cutting their grass. If they don't do it, We send a third party to do it for you. It used to be 5 days, and then it was changed to 7. Now, the dynamics of 7 is, now think about this, you have 7 business days, so end cap that with 2 weekends, plus a day for the inspector to go see if it was cut or not, and then a 24-hour period for our third-party contractor, that's 2 weeks from the time the letter was sent.
It's too much time.
All right, so we, at one time, it was 5 days, and I think that's more reasonable. When it went to 7, it's too much time. And to get it under control, I think we need to go back to the 5 days.
So, Mr.
And that's a
Rodriguez,
decision that the elected
The
officials.
date is from the date of the letter, the date of the
yeah,
violation
The
letter.
date that the certified letter is sent is when the clock starts.
Okay.
How much would the 2 days speed it up?
It would basically, it almost takes a weekend out of it.
So it takes 4 days out.
Right. That's correct.
Let's do it.
That's
Can
correct.
we,
And to be honest with you, people that get the letter that own their home and live there, they get their letter, they cut their grass.
a lot of
They're not
times
the
on
ones
the
we're chasing.
but a lot of times on the 7th day, they do.
Yeah, well, yes.
And
they-
some
they
cut their
do.
grass
But it's
until
the-
they,
you know,
until they
it's-
get the next
it's
letter, and then they cut the
renters
grass
that
again.
don't. And now we're chasing more commercial businesses than we ever did. That's the other part about this. You know, so you have 2 code enforcement officers, they're broken into 2 groups, they each got 5,000 homes.
Well, we don't
Now you're
have to ma-
chasing businesses.
We don't have to make a motion to do this. We can just agree to take it back to 5 days.
Well, that's correct. I mean, council changed it from 5 to 7 before. If you want to move it back to 5, then try to speed up the process. Because I know our office gets a tremendous amount of phone calls. I know you guys get a lot of phone calls. You know, we're just trying to make it easier for code enforcement to speed up the process to get the grass cut.
Is there any value in making it even less?
I
4
don't think
days?
so. I think 5 is more reasonable.
Okay.
I do.
Why'd it go to 7?
We had an early spring one year. The grass grew. Letters went out, and there was a group of people that were unhappy because they had to cut their grass over Easter. They showed up here and
that gonna
expressed their displeasure. Council at the time said, make it 7 instead of 5. Now that adds more days to it. And this time of year, as you can imagine, you know, a couple days makes a big difference.
Can we do that tonight, or we gotta wait till Tuesday?
No, wait a minute, Paul, if we took it down back to 5, I'm sure it would allow a weekend in there somewhere, right?
Correct.
That's what I'm concerned with, so people can.
Right, you
get
still
there.
have a weekend period in there.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Well, the other thing is too, if I get a letter because my grass is too high, I can get on the phone and say to you guys, hey, listen, I'm out of town for a couple of days.
Right.
When I get back in, I'm
Yeah,
gonna cut it.
if you respond and explain your situation,
Right.
there's leniency there.
Yeah, sure.
It's the ones that just put you on ignore.
Absolutely.
Let's do 5.
No, I fully support the 5 days. Council, everybody
I
agrees?
support
I
that.
agree.
Yeah, and tall grass, I mean, it is,
5 it is.
I know everybody, people, like you said, people, council members, myself, we get calls, we drive by these homes, and it's bad for communities. It's like first step towards blighted properties, and,
Yeah.
you know, we're not asking people to plant fancy shrubs and do all
We
these
know
fancy
some
things, like
communities
cut
that
your
don't even
grass.
do, they don't take action like we do. They just leave it grow, and it's
No,
terrible.
we can't do that. So the 5 days.
Gotta
Like you
wait
said
till
in the
you get
beginning,
lost in
it's
the
mostly
grass.
rental properties and flip homes that are the worst right now.
Yeah.
And then, so, Mr. Hugo, so and something else, another road we went down before was, there's no way, and this is probably maybe a Mr. Ratcher question as well, there is no way to penalize repeat offenders in any way.
No, not really, but I think what we can do is we can discuss some of these situations with the magistrate. And typically, if the people come in and cut the grass, that's the end of the story. And so if in fact people aren't being responsive and it's repetitive, I think maybe at that point, the magistrate should look at imposing a fine on them, particularly if we're talking about a group of people who aren't local and don't have the contact. You know, it's one thing when you can knock on somebody's door and say to them, hey, you gotta get your grass cut. It's another thing when they're in New Jersey and they're ignoring our letters.
Right. And Paul, am I correct that once they're on that list of having high grass, your third-party contractor comes out, like, is it like once a month? Isn't there a time frame that they come out?
So what happens if you get a letter and you put us on ignore? they'll go inspect it the day that it's matured, basically. Then we notify our third-party contractor. He cuts it,
And you get charged.
and then we will charge him, and if they don't pay, then the property gets liened. Once the violation is abated, it starts all over again.
So does somebody have to contact them, or are they on a list that the
We
zoning
do-
enforcement is going out? and
We
checking?
do have properties that they're on our automatic cut list. And there's probably 15 of them. And at the beginning of the year, we'll send a letter to you saying, look, this is your time to tell us whether you're gonna cut your grass or not.
No, other communities, in their ordinance, if an out-of-town landlord owns a property, they have to have somebody be able to take care of that property within so many miles of the property. Does Monroeville have any ordinance?
I think we did adopt that ordinance, did we not?
I'm not following you with that.
For absentee
The
landlords?
absentee
Oh,
landlord.
Yes,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, so
right.
that they
But
have to
still,
have somebody
I mean, it's
within-
still, you still have somebody that's the responsible party,
Okay,
and if they'll still put you on ignore.
okay.
Well, the 5 days can start, tell the enforcers they can do it
Today.
tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Today.
Great. And, Mr. Little, you had one more thing.
Yeah, I put on console at your stations here. This just came as an email at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's about the vacant property recovery program. It's an application. Now, we received, if I'm not mistaken, an application for the same piece of property on Bellwood Avenue. So I'll have to look in the file. Now, and see if we did. I'm pretty sure we did. I mentioned this when I was going down through, when we passed this last month, that the applicant should be sending this directly to the county. Now, they sent it to us. Now, whether or not they did send it to the county too, I don't know.
This might just be a courtesy copy.
It could be, I don't know. I just thought of that just now, and because I said that specifically, and so it could be a courtesy copy. So I'll get back to you on Tuesday on this, Council, to bring you more up to date. I just got this at 3 o'clock today.
Yeah, if you could just reach back out to the applicant here and just ask
Yeah.
them if they, ensure they did. I mean, it says right at the top that it has to be accepted at Allegheny County,
Yeah.
US. I'm assuming they probably are just making sure that we're aware of it.
Yeah.
But let's follow up with them just in case.
All right, okay.
Great. Ms. Rock?
I don't have anything.
Very good. And moving over to reports of our council members.
Nothing tonight,
Mr.
Mayor.
Izzy, thank you. Mr.
quick.
Poach?
Two quick things. First of all, Memorial Day Parade went off well. We survived, those of us that walked through and got through it as well. Carrying kids and getting people as well. Thank you so much, and thanks to the Legion this past year, too. And you know what, Paul, I started to bring it up because I was just about to say, what a great job everybody did this week getting back to you. I don't usually get in touch with you that often, but it's correct. I did get a number of calls about grass and everything else. And every single thing, just so everybody else knows and the public knows, you guys were already acting on it. You were far ahead of any of the complaints that I got too, so thank you and appreciate it too. So just tell the guys, great job.
Will do.
Yeah, that's it.
Great.
No,
Mr.
it's
Stevenson?
the whole time.
I would like to thank Mr. Poach for assigning me Public Works as council liaison. As hopefully the public is aware, we had charged the manager in February to send out requests for proposals for an engineering firm for our MS4. He did that. We got 11 back, and Mr. Hugus and our manager, Mr. Little, Mr. Izzy, and myself looked at the 11 proposals and narrowed it down to 2. We interviewed the 2 yesterday. And we're going over those 2, and we will select one and make an announcement on Tuesday. And that's all I have.
Mr. Wolfram?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Adams?
Nothing more.
Mr. Williams?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Biondo?
I don't have anything either.
Wow, how about that?
Let's roll.
Well, I'll just wrap up very quickly. I'm going to echo what Mr. Poach said. Thank you to the Memorial Day Parade participants and to the Legion for their organization of it. And I'll piggyback that with the 4th of July parade, that it is happening. There was, because we were off for a couple of years of doing parades, there's a lot of questions of if we're having one, if we're not. So I think the Memorial Day is always the warm-up parade, and now the 4th of July parade is definitely happening. It's going to start at 9 a.m. at the Miracle Mile Shopping Center like it always has, go down Route 22, and then it's going to turn on Mall Boulevard like it traditionally does. That is at the Kentucky Fried Chicken, Jared Jewelers, right by A&L Motors, that intersection. And it's going to go down Mall Boulevard, but definitely the difference this year that the chairman of the 4th of July committee is nervous about and wants me to spread the word to everybody, is that it's going to stop at the convention center. It's not going to go to the mall like it has in previous years, because that is where the VA hospital is currently being constructed. So it'll come down Mall Boulevard, and then it'll turn into the convention center parking lot, and that's where the grandstand will be. And they'll be parking around that area, but definitely it's gonna be a little bit of a different configuration as we get closer to that area. So just wanted to let everybody know that we'll be having announcements throughout the community, on our social media, on our websites, but I just wanted to make sure everyone knows that the parade is definitely happening, 9 a.m., Miracle Mile to the Convention Center, and then fireworks that evening at 9:30 p.m. For the 4th of July. And as we started off this meeting with a moment of silence for Kenny Zizak, I just want to, send my deepest condolences to his family. Kenny was a good guy. Everyone up here knew him, and he will certainly be missed. And with that, I'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.
You didn't honor get.